Hello everyone, my name is Himanshi Chauhan, and in this lecture I am going to explain you the concept of Hooke's law, which is very simple, and it simply gives the relationship between the stresses and strain, and it simply states that the stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit. So mathematically I can write stress is directly proportional to the strain. If I represent stress by sigma and strain by epsilon, then I can write sigma is directly proportional to the strain, and if I remove the sign of proportionality, then I have to multiply epsilon by a constant, and I am using E as a constant, and this constant is known as a constant of proportionality, and here we will call it as a modulus of elasticity. Here we will call it as a modulus of elasticity, and this is the property of material. E is the property of the material. So different material or different solid will have different values of E. Okay, then next. So we can say, so we have a equation. We have a equation epsilon. Sorry, sigma is equal to E epsilon. From this equation, we can say E is equal to sigma by epsilon, and if I take the value of epsilon as 1, then we would have E is equal to sigma. Then we can define modulus of elasticity as the amount of stress required to produce the unit strain. It is the stress required to produce the unit strain. Okay. Now, we want to know what is the relation between sigma, what is the relation between sigma and epsilon, or in other words, if we plot sigma versus epsilon, then what kind of nature, which nature of graph, which nature of graph, or which kind of graph we will get. Okay, then from our class 10 or class 9, we know that the equation of a straight line is given by y is equal to mx plus c, where y and x are variables, c is an intercept, and m is simply a slope. M is simply slope of straight line. Okay. If I take the value of c as 0, then our above equation reduces to y is equal to mx. This equation again represents an equation of straight line which passes through the origin, which passes through the origin. If I look at our previous equation, then we have somewhat similar equation to this equation. So we can say that if I plot sigma and epsilon, then we will have a straight curve, straight line passes through the origin. So what I mean by that, if I plot epsilon on x-axis and sigma on y-axis, and if we plot the sigma versus epsilon graph, then we would have a linear relation between sigma and epsilon up to the elastic limit. The curve between sigma and epsilon would be linear, which passes through the origin up to the elastic limit. Okay, then the slope of any straight line is given by the tan theta, where theta is the angle, where theta is the angle measured from positive epsilon axis. Okay, then we can say that tan theta or slope is equal to y upon x, or simply it is given by y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, if we measure y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 from this graph, we would have slope is equal to sigma by epsilon. Sigma by epsilon, and we know sigma by epsilon is equal to E. Sigma by epsilon is equal to E. Then we can say slope is equal to tan theta is equal to modulus of velocity is equal to sigma by epsilon. Or simply we can say that modulus of velocity, modulus of velocity, modulus of elasticity, modulus of velocity is simply slope. It is simply a slope. It is simply a slope of stress and strain curve up to the elastic limit. To the elastic limit. So we can say that modulus of velocity is simply the slope of stress and strain curve up to the elastic limit. Okay. Next, the next concept, modulus of velocity gives the measure of how hard it is, it how hard a material to deform, how hard to deform the material. Okay. Suppose suppose we have a two materials. Suppose we have a two materials, material one and material two, and I'm saying that modulus of velocity of first material is E1 and modulus of velocity of second material is E2, and I'm saying that E1 E1 is greater than A2, then it simply means that it is much harder to deform the material 1 than material 2. If we plot if we plot the stress and strain graph of material 1 and 2, okay, then we would have this kind of graph. From graph we can say that from graph also we can say that the slope slope of material 2 is much larger than the slope of material 2. Slope of material 1 is much larger than material 2, which simply means E1 is greater than E2 because slope of stress strain curve up to the elastic limit gives you the modulus of elasticity. Okay, I think this concept is clear. And if we look at the units of we look at the units of modulus of elasticity, E is defined as a sigma by epsilon, and sigma is simply internal force or external force per unit area divided by epsilon. Okay, and epsilon can be defined as a change in length or area, change in length over original length, change in area upon original area, change in volume upon original volume. Okay, then F by A delta L by L. Okay, so the units of force is Newton, unit of area is meter square, and unit of delta L by L, delta L by L is unitless, so we can say that we can multiply meter square by 1. Then the unit of modulus velocity would be Newton per meter square, which is known as a Pascal, which is known as a Pascal. If we talk about the dimension of modulus of velocity, we talk about the dimension of modulus of velocity, then we can from this unit we can say Newton per meter square, and we know we can write Newton as mass multiplied by acceleration. The unit of mass is kg, the unit of acceleration is meter per second square, and here we have meter square. So if we cancel this meter power 2, then we would have kg divided by meter into second square. So from this unit, we can write the dimension of modulus of velocity as m1, because here the power of kg is 1 and L minus 1 because we can write this unit as kg meter minus 1 second power minus 2. Okay, and from second we can write t minus 2. So m1 L minus 1 t minus 2 is the dimension of t. It is the dimension of, and I hope you have understand all the concept. Thanks.